So after we've learned that the waters of Netilas Yadayim are drawn and connected to the concept of the waters of the mikveh, which we learned about in the previous episode, so now we're talking very deeply about why it is that before the Netila, before washing our hands in the morning, in Halacha, it says that we have to be very careful not to touch any of the openings on our body, and particularly the openings on our head, which are the ears and the nostrils and the mouth and the eyes. So Reb Nosson over here writes that Rabbi Nachman tells us in a teaching in Likutei in the first volume, the 21st teaching, that Rabbi Nachman says that the Menorah in the Beis HaMikdash had 7 branches, 7 candles, and these 7 candles were representative of the light of the Torah. We know that the Beis HaMikdash had the windows, right, which were narrow on the inside and wide on the outside, because the Beis HaMikdash didn't need light from the outside. Now, on the contrary, the outside world got its light from the Beis HaMikdash, and that light came from the light of the Menorah, and that light of the Menorah represents the light of everything that we've been speaking about, Hashem Oyri V'Yishi, the light of Hashem, the light of Hashem's presence, the light of Emunah, the light of a world that's lit up, that's illuminated, that's warm, that's counteracting the coldness and the kriros and the frozenness of Amalek, that aspect of dawn as opposed to the sleep and the cold and the darkness when the sun sets. The light of the menorah is reflecting the light of das, the light of consciousness, of olam haba living, where a person is plugged into the deeper nature of reality, where they recognize that beyond the surface of things, really the whole world is not an olam hateva, it's not a world of nature, it's an olam hapela. It's a world that's full of wonder, and a person can react to the world in that way, with wonder, with bewilderment, with amazement, with awe. That's what the menorah represents. Rabbi Nachman says that actually the openings in our face, which are 7, right, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, the mouth, the 2 eyes, all of these openings are the concept of the 7 branches of the menorah. And these 7 branches of the menorah are supposed to be pure. That means that a person is supposed to be careful about what they say and what food they take into their mouths. That's the aspect of bechina, the aspect of the mouth. And then they have to be careful about how they're using their nose, right? Like the pasuk tells us, "Lo sinach," a person mustn't commit adultery, and the Zohar Kadosh says, "Lo sinach" is lo sahana af, that even our nostrils shouldn't benefit from the smell of perfume or something untoward, something that isn't totally kedusha oriented, and the person needs to be careful with their 2 openings in their nose, the nostrils. Of course, a person needs to be careful with what they hear, and that's making sure that our ears are purified, meaning that our ears are being utilized in accordance with the consciousness of Hashem's presence. And the reason why we're here in this world is it's Salam Elokim, to be careful to make sure that what we're hearing is holy, that we're not hearing lashon hara, that we're not hearing bad, nivel peh, and negative words from others, and inappropriate and impure words. And that a person keeps their ears pure, and of course, if a person's able to keep their eyes pure, and a person works on this, the same thing. Then, says Rabbi Nachman, the person's face is the 7 branches of the menorah, and all the openings are shining forth the light of Hashem from their ears, from their eyes, from their nose, from their mouth. These 7 openings is literally the light of the menorah, and through the way that a person is sanctifying these 7 openings to that degree, the person is illuminated with das, the person's illuminated with the awareness of Hashem. So of course, now that we know that the openings in the face are so connected to the branches of the menorah, which is representative and symbolic of the light of das, the light of emunah, the light of awareness, so then says Reb Nosson, of course we wouldn't want to defile that with the tumah, with the impurity on our hands of koich v'otzim yadi, where we shut God out of our lives. And like we've been learning in the previous episodes, it's all us. It's we're the ones who are doing things, and we don't need Hashem and chas v'shalom. This consciousness of Amalek to make us feel like it's all in our control, and that a person is independent, living on themselves, disconnected from Hashem. So obviously that kind of impurity is going to be especially damaging in those openings on the face, because those are the openings again which represent the light of das, the light of emunah, the light of the menorah. And so Reb Nosson says really these 7 openings are the aspect of the pasuk in Zechariah which says Shiva Ela Eine Hashem Heima Meshoitetes B'Chala Aretz. God's eyes are 7-fold. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's interaction with the world is peering out from 7 openings. And again, that's a reference to the 7 openings on the person's face, even though only 2 of those openings are eyes. But from the standpoint of revelation, from the standpoint of peeking out, from the standpoint of Hashem's consciousness extending into the world, that's through all the different openings in our face. And so that's the pneumius, that's the depth of why we have to be so careful not to touch any of the openings in our face before washing Netilas Yadayim, the experience of which is going to cleanse our hands, our koicha va'otzim yadi, with the cleansing waters of das, of umala, aretz, deas, Hashem, kamayim, li'amachasim, with the consciousness of the mikvah.
Ani habe vi'ata ha'av shali shekol kach ohev oti ha'av shali Melech chai v'kayah al kol neshima she'ani